Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another exciting Vobie, One-Eyed Kenobi Showbie with me, Richard Vobes, and you, the lovely people who are watching me. And it's very nice of you to come by. Let me just, I'm going to zoom in a fraction here, just so we get a bit more dominance in the screen. There we go, that's better. Marvellous to see you. Thank you very much for coming along. We'll say hello to Being There Photography, which I believe is Gabriel, with Barbara Charles saying, with that photo above you, we'll be singing Al Johnson's Mammy. I wonder what photograph is talking about. Audrey Forbes, good evening to you. Lovely to see you. The lovely Julia. We've got Ron Langley. We have Barry Stevens. Hello, folks. We've Ernie. There were 74 likes yesterday. Let's see what we can get this evening. We've got 14 likes so far. We'll keep a tally on the likes and see if they tally-ho upwards, which would be rather good if that happens. Ed Loud singing the tune, which is marvellous. I may have to change the tune because every show I get this copyright claim that I've nicked the tune. You'd think they got the idea that all it is like 30 seconds of the tune. No one is going to download this and get any benefit from Zodiac, which is the theme music that I use. Andy Stacey, hello to you. Barry Stevens, hello. Lovely. Judith, thank you very much for coming by again. Mark Selwood, hello. Rami Boo, or evening all. Linda Kane, is that the latest offering? Is what the latest offering? Hello. Being There Photography, hello, and everybody, whoever happens to come along, and it's lovely to see you. Nice. Now, I hope you had a lovely day. It's a beautiful sunny day down here. And I did go out this morning. I've made a nice video for tomorrow, hopefully. Hopefully people will enjoy that and look at that. And it was interesting because I kept hearing the sounds and I wondered what was going on. So I did actually, sorry, I got an itch down there. I did go down to the park briefly. And I know you're technically only supposed to go and do one bit of exercise. But down in Homefield Park, I noticed they were setting up the fun fair. So I thought that's quite nice. There was a lot of movement. I saw all these great big lorries going past my house. I thought, I wonder what that's about. So presumably that's in for next week. I don't know. Anyway, never mind all of that, because what's very exciting, ladies and gentlemen, is ta-da! Yes, I have been making more bread. Ba-dam! There it is. That may look like a very fizzy lump of brick or a piece of foam. Ba-bam! Bit of bath foam. But I can tell you, it's most definitely a piece of bread. This, I got my yeast to wake itself up. I got some new yeast. And here is my first attempt at bread. It's come out the oven. I cooked it this afternoon. It was rising. I was hoping it to be a little bit more domed, like up there. So I'm not quite sure what's happened to it. It's gone a bit flat. But I haven't used any of the... I haven't used any of the strong bread. Now, of course, it may look a bit like a house brick with a little bit of foam on it, but I thought what would be appropriate on the show is to just demonstrate and remonstrate, really, is to try and try a piece of this. Of course, there's a bit of a lip on this. Look, there's a bit of a lip there. So I might just cut that lip off from lip hook and we'll cut the first bit of bread, ladies and gentlemen, live on the show. Have a look at that. Now, Mark Donny McLeod, this is your recipe. This is the crust. So obviously that's probably not the best bit to taste because it'll be crunchy. Very crunchy. Not very soft. I wonder why that is. Let me try another piece here. I will eat that bit. I'm going to eat that during the videos. But I'm just going to try a bit there. It's still a little warm. I'll just chuck it over there. It's quite heavy. It's quite a heavy piece of bread. So of course, what I've got here is some butter, as you can see in its wraps. No, there's no finesse in this show, ladies and gentlemen. No finesse at all. A bit of butter on there. We're going to stick that on the top. And but what I also have is some raspberry jam, seedless, from Morris Splodge. So going to open this and try a bit of raspberry jam on the butter, and then I can give you my considered opinion. This is quite exciting, isn't it? Look at that. There we are. It's not terribly moist, if I may use that word. Not terribly moist, but quite dry. So maybe you could tell me where I'm going wrong and what I need to do. But let's give this a bit of a taste and then we'll see what happens. I've just had a bit of crusty stuff there. So the crust is crusty, like rock cakes crusty. But the middle bit, apart from being a very shallow loaf, I'm trying to get a bit that's not crusty. The actual bread bit, when you eliminate the crust, is very nice. That, I have to say, is well worth the effort. The first try. Now, it's not light and fluffy. It is using, I used 2 cups of plain flour to 1 cup of the, whatever you call this other stuff, the whole grain. So what I might next do is just use half a cup of the whole grain and leave the rest in plain flour. I have looked for the strong flour, but they haven't got any at Morrison's. They had this dinky little thing, about £1.60 or £1.70. Didn't look like it was going to make many bags of many loaves of bread, so I left that. Mark Monitor says, add a little more oil next time. Oh, right, okay. I did the 50 milligrams of oil. I'll maybe do a bit more. So that'll be interesting. Linda Ken says, need to be seedless. Seeds get under the dentures, don't they, Richard? I don't have any dentures, if you're asking me. I don't have many teeth left, but I haven't got any dentures as yet. The crust is usually the best bit. I don't mind it crusty. I just wanted to know that the middle bit is nice and soft and moist. It is a successful loaf. Yeah. I want to know, though, how long will that last? You know, will it last because it's not got any preservatives or anything? Is it really just a couple of days, that sort of thing? Let me know. The slice of life, says Michael Angel. It looks amazing. It is amazing. It's amazing that I managed to do it. Look at that. I mean, it does look like bread. That's the thing. And one can only get better. That's how I look at it. There's a shortage of flour everywhere. Yes, everybody's... What is it with people and making bread at the moment? Everybody thought there was not going to be any bread, I suppose. The bread makers themselves, the professionals, must be a bit nervous of all of this, mustn't they? Anyway, if you want to call in, we'll try and get a phone call in before the first video. That would be fantastic. Don't forget, you can call. So that's 0793 4746 790 is the number to call. And you can have a chat with me about this, that and the other. Mark Selwood says, hope you kept moving in the park so as not to be accused of causing effect. Well, you couldn't get in the park because of the fun fair at the moment. So they're sort of in the middle of setting up. But I didn't linger very long. I had a lovely cycle ride, though, this morning in the beautiful sunshine. Absolutely beautiful and gorgeous. Over to a tiny little place, an ancient village of Ferring. You have to go through an inordinate amount of bungalows. They're all identical bungalows, one after the other. Streams and streams of them. Bungalow City, it really is. It's like a bungled job of bungalows made for Bungo Zippy and... Who was the other one? Bungo Zippy and somebody else from Rainbow. Anyway, wouldn't last long here due to the lack of preservatives. So, yeah, what are we talking about? We have a phone call. Here we go. Let's find out who is on the phone. Ladies and gentlemen, live to the Vobes. Who's calling, please?
Hey up.
Hey up.
How's do, lad?
I'm all right. Is that Mark Donny McLeod?
It is indeed, lad.
Yeah. Well, I am your disciple.
That looks much better to me. That looks much better indeed.
It's much better than the last one because the yeast was dead.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. You can't get that. I've actually bought a whole tub of yeast for the day to use, and found when I got home that it was dead.
That's just terrible.
Which, yeah, it was. I wasn't exactly enamoured, as you might guess.
So I mean, the lesson I've learnt from this, Mark, is to always test a little bit of the yeast to see if it's actually going to go frothy, man.
Yeah, that's the one.
Rather than, baking or mixing all the dough. 25 loaves I could have made today. 25 loaves. And then find none of them did anything.
Mm.
But I've only got one tin, so and one little oven. So, yeah. So, more oil, you reckon?
Yeah, maybe just a little tad more oil. I don't mean go mad.
No.
So if you're using 50 ml, which is an ounce, fluid ounce,
right,
then possibly go up to 60, 65.
Okay.
Try that. See if it's a bit more. You can even actually, with the posh kit, you have butter. You can add like a little knob of that in there.
A knob of
butter.
Butter, lad. Oh right. Oh, okay.
Butter.
So it now.
The only reason I normally go for not having lard or butter in making bread is because a lot of people can't. They can't have it.
Oh right. Well, that makes sense. So now tell me. I didn't know how much it was going to rise. So it obviously rose a bit. And in the instructions you gave me, you put a piece of cellophane over the top.
Yeah, I put cling wrap, yeah.
Cling wrap, yeah. Now that seemed to be...
I'm not sure if I actually told you when I was doing it, was to get the cling wrap and get, I have a little spray thing. I put oil in it. And then I spray the oil onto the cling wrap. Then I put the cling wrap onto the dough that's in the tin at that stage, at the second stage. So it allows it then to move,
Yeah, because I thought I didn't put
bro.
I didn't put the cling film over the top terribly tight because I thought that's going to restrict it. From...
Oh no, you don't want it tight. That's exactly right, because how's it going to rise if it's tight?
Yeah. So it may have been a bit tight because I put it over it, but I used cling.
You did a job. It's come out, hasn't it?
It's come out, but do you think it should be higher?
No, that's all right.
Is that all right?
That'll come with time. Maybe the next loaf after that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm eager to learn and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think I've cooked it too long, which is why it's very crispy?
I'll tell you what to do next time. Did you remember? I know it's like a lot to remember. Did you remember to put the water?
No, I did remember halfway through. Right. I remembered halfway through.
Yeah. So what I would do is, the recipe I sent you?
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't mention it on there, write it on.
Yeah. Put the water in the oven on the lower shelf.
So what you do is get a bowl.
Yeah.
Put water in it. Obviously a heat-proof bowl.
Yeah.
Put the water in it. Put it into the bottom of the SE.
Yeah.
So if you're going to have your bread above, obviously you want your bread middle to high in the oven. So if you've got that right at the bottom, it should give that lots of steam in there.
Yeah. Do you think I didn't? I did it This is the third loaf. So the second loaf I did do that. For some reason I completely forgot because I was so overexcited that the dough had risen. And I did the knockback and I bunged it.
I can understand that.
So excited. And then when I felt it had risen about as much as it was going to do, which was about another hour or so later, I shoved it in the oven. I got the oven going. I shoved it in and I thought, oh, this is exciting. And of course, my question then is, I didn't do the water, but if I put the water in, say, half an hour before I put the bread in so that there's a whole nice moist atmosphere, would that be good?
Yeah, actually, what I would do is, when unless you've got the SE on anyway, if you're lighting it just to bake the bread, I would put it in at that point.
Right, okay.
So it's got a long time, and when you open that door, you'll get a whack of steam in your face.
Yeah, and that's the time to stick there. And I couldn't remember how, because with the SE it's hit and miss about how hot it is at any point.
Yeah,
because you're constantly putting in. So I don't think you wanted it too hot, did you? You didn't want it very, very hot, or did you?
Well, hot is good.
Yeah, I mean, I did put it in.
But the problem is you can go too hot, and what can happen is the outside, can burn and the inside not be cooked.
Yes.
So you want an even temperature.
Yeah.
So it's go all the way around. That's That's the other thing that the actual bowl of water gives you. What it actually does is, because of that fine mist, yeah,
Steam.
I haven't touched a drop, the steam in the oven,
Yeah.
right? But what that does is then it softens that effect of the heat.
Oh, okay. The SE apparently is very good for giving you all-round heat because the way the vents work and the way the heat is actually directed. Once you have to turn a knob and.
Yeah, I'm very envious. If I could have one, I would. I think they're a brilliant way to cook. I actually have gas. I would never cook on electric. It's crap.
Yeah.
But I actually have gas, and I like gas. If I had a choice of gas, I would go with propane rather than the stuff you get out, of the main line.
Propane?
Yeah, because propane is hotter.
Ah, right. Yeah.
And I like to make a lot of Indian dishes, particularly like naan bread. And naan bread, as you might know, would be making a tandoor.
I didn't know that. This is a whole new learning curve for me.
Yeah. So you make naan bread in a tandoor. You can make it normally.
Yeah.
But a tandoor, the big clay oven.
Is that the thing that they have on the patios?
Oh
no, that's what do they call that? A chimney.
This is deep. Yeah, you can get like those like pizza ovens, and you can cook bread in there. Actually, it's been brilliant. But a tandoor is like imagine a big earthenware pot that's about 2.5 foot, 3 foot deep, quite wide.
Yeah.
And what they do is they put a fire underneath it at the bottom. It has to be obviously clay, real clay.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the thing would split.
Yeah.
So you've got this wall around the outside, the brick, and then between that, there's like other stuff, aggregate or whatever that holds the pot in place. And at the bottom is where you start your fire, your heat. And then you make your dough, which is very much like making normal dough bread. And you fashion it in your circle. And then in a proper tandoor, they then take the lid off, and it should be about 455, 560 degrees in there. It's very, very hot.
Blimey.
And then they slap them against the side of the pot.
Oh, right.
And it sticks to the pot, the dough sticks to the pot. And then so many minutes into the cooking process, they come in and pull it off, turn it around and slap it on again the other side.
Oh, right.
And then when it's cooked both sides, and then they take them off, and that's a proper tandoor.
Gosh.
It's
and that's how you do naan bread?
And that's the original way of making naan bread, yeah.
Oh, I must have a word with my nan. How marvellous. How marvellous. Well, I'm going to carry on. I am going to persevere with this.
I'm going to let you carry on with the show.
Yes,
Thanks very much.
Well, thank you for the instructions and the encouragement. I think.
It's wonderful to see. I think so. I think everyone should be making bread.
I mean, this is the staff of life, isn't it? It's the one thing that it's a skill everybody ought to have, I think.
Yeah.
He says that after 50 so many years now, that he suddenly realised this is a skill that we should all have. Because if there is a calamity, let's say there was a pandemic of some description and that people couldn't go out their houses, and just, far-fetched as that might sound, and you had a little bit of flour and you had a little bit of yeast and some oil and water, you're made, aren't you? You'd survive.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Good stuff.
My kids learned to bake bread when they were just about old enough.
Yeah, oh, right.
When they were old enough to cook.
Yeah.
10, 12. I started getting them cooking stuff.
Must have been the envy of all the other school kids then when they went in with their own homemade rolls and things.
Well, the whole idea was I wanted so that if anything ever happened to me, they'd lost their mum. Yeah. If anything ever happened to me and I got ill and I passed away, I wanted it so that they can survive. At least make themselves food. Yeah.
What a good man you are. Thank you, Mark.
Right. Catch you later, tutty bye.
Yeah, catch you later, tutty bye. Thank you very much. There we are, the wonderful Mark giving me lots of hints and tips there live on the show. Fantastic stuff. Brilliant. Well, I'm going to munch on a bit of that, but we we are going into the video box. And in the video box today, we're going to start with young Gabriel, because Gabriel's been gallivanting about up the very top and down the very bottom. What am I talking about? Gabriel, tell us all.
Hopefully behind me you can see the Tor up there somewhere. Today I'm going to take you on a very quick walk up the Tor and a very quick walk back down the Tor, and while we're up there we'll have a little look around. Follow me this way. So here we are, we've now reached the top of the Tor and the view is amazing. We're looking to the north here across the Severn Estuary to South Wales, and there in the distance you can see the Mendip Hills, which are the gorge, and as we swing round that's Wells in the distance about 7 miles away. And as we continue to swing around you'll begin to see the start of West Pennard Hill, and slightly to the left of that is the site of the Glastonbury Festival. For those of you who've been there, that's about 9 miles in that direction. As we continue to swing around to the south, we're starting to look across towards Cadbury Castle, and we continue to swing round, and now we're starting to look towards the west. And there we go, and then it's time to walk back down again. Well, Vobesters, I hope you enjoyed that quick walk to the top of the Tor and back with a quick look around while we were up there. That's it for today, so that's been Glastonbury Tor. I've been Gabriel of Glastonbury, and you've been an audience. Thank you again, see you to the next time, bye bye.
Fantastic. How about that? He must be out of breath now, though, surely. Julia, does that remind you of our trip 2 years ago when we went to Glastonbury for the first time? That was our first trip away, and we did both sides of that. The first time we went up, I think we went the way that Gabriel came down. And then another time we went up after seeing, I think it was after we saw Gog and Magog, wasn't it? If I remember rightly. Fantastic, though. Absolutely lovely. We loved our trip there, and it was nice to see it again. Thank you, Gabriel. Although, of course, when you got to the top, we didn't. You were turning all the way around, and I thought, where's the tower? You're going to bump into the tower in a minute. Surely, where's the tower? But it was there. Just he didn't show it. Lovely and nostalgic, says the lovely Julia. Absolutely. Fantastic. There we go. I've managed to scoff that piece of bread, and it's very delicious. Still very filling. Absolutely very filling. I'll report on how long this loaf lasts and how much I managed to get through it. But we will get a bit better and better as we go on and improve and all those things. So it's very exciting. If anyone else has baked anything interesting, then do let us know. Be fascinating. I've never watched that programme Bake Up. Never watched a single episode of that programme Bake Off, when they used to do a lot of baking of cakes and things and that. Maybe I should have done. I may have learnt how to bake cakes, bread rather. But I'm in the hands of Mark Donny McLeod. So let's just go back into the... well, I don't know why the camera suddenly switches itself off. Go back into there. If anybody wants to give me a call before the next video, you're very welcome. How long have we been doing this every day, by the way? I was trying to work that out as I was wandering around down to get out of the way of these big wagons that were parked up. I was thinking, how long have we been doing this? What is this, week? This is week 4, isn't it? This is week 4. So this must be what, 27 days? Is that 27 days? Same age as my daughter. It's her birthday today, although it's probably tomorrow where she is in New Zealand. She's 27, or today in our time, 27 and a day in her time. So, yeah, that's interesting, isn't it? And I was just trying to work out how many days we've been doing, because we've been doing this on the trot since the lockdown. Every day, people have been coming along and watching this bald geezer waffle about this and waffle about that. I'm very thankful to Barry Stevens there, who sent me some information about I thought we won't do too much about COVID-19 on today's show, but I just wanted to pass on this lovely thing that Barry sent. Some official news is that it's absolutely now been decided, I suppose. The evidence is clear that sunlight and fresh air are things that get rid of the COVID. And I thought it's curious, isn't it, that sunlight is something which, if it's on you, obviously it's inside you, it's no good. But if it's, it kills the virus very quickly, apparently, the UV rays. And it struck me that really what people should be doing then is, in this wonderful fresh air, is pushing the patients in the hospital out into the sunshine. Like they used to do that sort of thing when people used to go down to the sea to take the air. You see these photographs. I think Margate, I don't know why Margate comes to mind, but I remember seeing some photographs of some hospital in Margate. Yes, I'm sure it's Margate. I think that there used to be a big hospital. And anyway, there were these pictures of people. They're all pushed out into the sun. It was sunny, but and I read a report or a thing on this, that they were pushed out even in the winter. It's just the sun was shining, and they thought sunlight was a good thing. Well, it turns out that in some instances it is, and this is one of those. How much is that good? Barry says that most underrated thing to bake in the UK is pumpkin pie. Yeah, we just make the pumpkins, don't they? We grow pumpkins, wrong kind of pumpkins, from what I understand, for the Halloween business. I nicked a recipe from an American when in America, as she refused to give it out. It's best, he says. It is the best. Oh, right. Sussex Wanderer says, "Hi, Vobe. Love your channel. I am a Sussex man myself. Just wondering if you have explored Uckfield and the surrounding areas." Yes, interesting you should say that. The lovely Julia and I went to... Julia, can you remember what the name of that park is? Maybe Dean Cooper. I don't know if Dean Cooper's out there. He'll remember. Fiona Cooper. Yeah, what was the name of the park that we went to with the lake? Was it Lake something? It was Lake Field or something, with the rocks and the little tunnel went through and all the high big sandstone rocks that went round. We did go there recently. I'd like to go and go up the high street in Uckfield. It's very nice. And do more in East Sussex. Definitely need to do more in East Sussex. Absolutely. I can't remember. Maybe somebody can remember what that was called. Lakewood. Thank you very much. There we are. We did Lakewood, which is lovely. And then there's one across the road from Lakewood, which is another one. So as soon as we get out of this... Lakewood now, probably, crowded with people going for discreet walks. But you can imagine walking around there first thing in the morning with the early morning mist, the sun coming down, hitting off the stones there would be amazing. And wouldn't it be lovely with spring? We went in the autumn, so we were seeing the autumn colours, but it must be magical now. And the wood on the opposite side would also be good. Mark Donny McLeod says, so that begs the question, why keep you in rather than be out? It's as if they want you to get ill. I shall put the foil hat down. Yeah, I think this is. I mean, I didn't want to get into any of this, but they now know that this is the case. I was listening to a fantastic interview with the Swedish professor, because in Sweden they're not doing the lockdown in the same way as we did, and he thought that up until the lockdown, just the physical distance thing was sufficient. And actually, he was saying exactly what I said right at the beginning. And I said, people should be able to go about and do their daily business, but we should protect anybody who is vulnerable and old. And we would be advised who they were, who had the underlying conditions. But the rest of us should be okay. And this professor, he's been a professor of whatever you call it, virusology, whatever it is. He's retired now, but he did things on the Spanish flu and various things, being interviewed. And he said, this is the worst thing you can do is to lock people down. He said, because he said most people have had it. He said most people have had this virus and they won't even know. And it's funny because I know I had a bit of a funny old flu thing. And Julia had a bit of a funny old flu thing well before this started, before the lockdown and what have you. And I felt a bit chesty, but it went. So I'm just wondering whether maybe we've had it. Maybe we've had it. We kept being told, oh, well, don't forget that there are other flu things. So it is a fascinating and interesting developing situation. Worth watching what happens in Sweden. Because getting out of it, that's the biggest problem we have, getting out of this lockdown. Because, as this professor said, he said, I wonder if they've thought about how you get out of it. What's the exit strategy? Because before you put people into something, you should know how you're going to get out of it. And he says, I bet they haven't thought of how you get out of it. Because he said, supposing they put the children back at school. So what you have to do, like you're testing anything, you have to test each little theory. So you keep everything the same, you put the children in school, and then you wait. And then if you get, oh, hang on a minute, deaths are still going up. Oh, okay, maybe that didn't work. Then you take the kids out of that school, and then you maybe make something else happen. Like you say, okay, people in white vans can go to work. I don't know, I'm making this bit up now. But certain type of society are allowed out. And then you wait another couple of weeks, and you go, oh, okay, that's okay. I think that's all right. So, like you have to test one thing at a time and then go back to the sort of neutral position. You test that. Does that work? Well, that seems to work. Okay, test this. This could go on for months because they've got no proper exit strategy. So that's, it's a fascinating thing. I trained at an old fever hospital which had open balconies at the end of each ward. Nature is going to be the thing that helps you as well as hinders you, isn't it? And I can't help feeling that sunlight is probably the best medicine here, and get people out into the sun. Honestly, keeping people in a ward, lots of them, in the same room where something that is potentially airborne through spittle clearly seems wrong. It just seems common sense to say, why keep them in a room where the atmosphere is going to be just full of this stuff? Get them out. And the irony is, here in the UK, is we are having the warmest weather we've had for donkey's years right at the right time. Absolutely at the right time. And if this sunlight thing is the thing that's all this PPE and getting all the gubbins on, still wear that, obviously. But if you're outside in the sunlight, just get glass. Even if you don't want to go out, get glass roofs. Get glass roofs up so the sun can come in. It may cut some of the rays, but it might be enough. That's my thought. I'm not a professor. I don't know what I'm talking about, but just using a little bit of common sense might help. There's no room outside for hospitals. It's all car parks, says Philip Hammond. That's true. Well, you could just get rid of the car park. You could say, I'm sorry, you can't bring your car in. What's more important? I read this other thing. I was listening to somebody else who, and I don't know what you think about this. They were talking about this, I can't remember the name of the hydrocloxic chlorine or whatever it is, this wonder drug. And everyone was berating Donald Trump because they'd accredited him with saying it was a miracle drug. And apparently he didn't say those exact words, but he said it was worth giving it a try. And his strategy, which I have to say I do agree with this, he said, look, if you're in a war and you're losing the war and people are dying, you're going to try anything. You're not going to wait for clinical trials. If that person's going to die, what have you got to lose by giving him the drug? They're going to die anyway. Give them the drug and see what happens. And so that was Trump's thing, that he was going to use this thing. And people were saying, yeah, but you can't use it until it's been clinically tried. And it's like, well, what's the difference? If that person's going to die, he may die, but he may live. And if they start to live, more people start to live because we've been giving them this drug. Isn't that a good thing? And it's interesting because I also heard a woman being interviewed on Radio 4, who was talking about how they thought she was dying. They got the parents, the relations, they were all allowed to come in and say goodbye, and they said all the goodbyes. And just before they went, the husband said, is there absolutely nothing you can do? Are you sure? And they said, well, there is this slightly crazy idea that if we turn them on their stomachs, on their chest, that it could, people claim, it's anecdotal, it could revive them. But the chances are, your wife is in such a bad state that if we do that, she's likely to die. And he said, but she's going to die anyway, isn't she? And they said, well, yes. He said, well, what have we got to lose? Try it. They tried it. They turned this woman on the chest, and she didn't die that night. 3 days later, she is at home and survived. And it's like, yeah, if we're in this war and this thing is as bad as it is, why are we not just trying anything? Because if those people are going to die, what have we got to lose? And it just seems like, well, we're not actually in the front line with bombs flying all above us. It seems that we're like slightly one step away from that. So it's very confusing. Let's have a look at some of your things. You interviewed Jackie Love at the Uckfield Festival. I did, that's right. I did interview lovely Jackie there. I haven't been there for a while, actually. Where is the info re-COVID versus Sunshine? It's on my phone. Barry sent it to me. There was a link. I don't know if Barry can find it again. Linda says, where did you get the information from? Michael Angel says, the banking collapse, that's coming, will make things worse. Absolutely. The financial implications of this is going to be far worse than the cure that we've done. That seems to me to be absolutely dead certain. Not Joyce Green in Dartford. No, I don't think it came from her. Vespers and Lambrettas are for our two mods. Yes, there we go. Dean Cooper says, hello, Richard. Yes, I'm here. Lakewood with the bluebells, now very pretty. Try and get a video. Oh, that would be, yes, with the bluebells. You see, we're missing all the bluebells. Barry Stevens, Linda, it was on AOL website. The ones in the hospital are hooked up to machines. Yeah, I suppose that's true. The ones in the hospital are hooked up to machines, so it's difficult to get them outside. Yeah, I mean, I'm spouting some common sense that I'm not a hospital person. I don't know how these inner workings work. I don't know how accurate the information passed on to me is. I'm not in a position to say that you should do this or do that or do otherwise. All I'm saying is if these things are true, then maybe it's something we should look at. And it's like, I have no authority to say any of this. It's just me throwing out an opinion. We're exchanging ideas. I could be completely and utterly wrong. I probably am. I'm pretty much wrong in many of the things I say, so don't take what I'm saying too seriously. But I guess it's making an argument and having a counter argument and going, oh, okay, that's possible. Yeah, maybe that makes sense. Maybe it doesn't. Who knows? Mark Donny McLeod says, but we do know one thing. We don't need a huge office buildings, for office workers can work from home. We could make them into homes that are needed. Yeah, there we are. Say, if we could get more of those office buildings knocked down and turned into homes, then we wouldn't have to keep building in the countryside. That I would be in all favour for that. I'm on, here we go, hydroxychloroquine for rheumatoid arthritis. Philip, you're going to live forever. There we go. You've been blessed. You will live forever. Linda Kane says, right, nothing appearing on Google except what was reported in March that Sunshine does not not inactive the virus. Yes, it's used for malaria and rheumatoid arthritis too. Oh, yeah, so there we are. It's not a drug that I find easy to pronounce. Sussex Wanderer says it's stunning in Lakewood and surrounding area at the moment. I know, and I would love to go up there and film and just take it all in. It would be lovely. You're right, Richard. It works and it's common sense. Phil Hammond says sunlight just makes you feel better. I mean, if nothing else, exactly. If nothing else, Philip, you've got it right. You know, if your last few moments, if it was me, and I was fair, I know they put you to sleep, so you know it's probably immaterial. But if it was me and I'm on a ventilator and they've got the choice of being in a stuffy old ward with all these other people who are dying next to me, making me feel incredibly miserable and not very optimistic, and going out onto the patio in the sun with the sound of the birds and not so much traffic and the bees and I might be worried about being stung, of course, but and all of that. I would much rather have that. And if they were my last few hours on the, particularly if you're not allowed to have your folks come and be at your bedside, would that not be more preferable? Certainly, I think it would. I mean, it might make you more depressed that this is what I'm going to miss. I'm going to miss all this. This is really great. I'm going to. It's all very difficult. Julia says, shame my father-in-law about being put on something front. Same with my father about being put on the front, but it was too late. They're learning as they go, and it must be incredibly stressful making these life and death situations on a virus we don't yet fully understand. And absolutely, it's easy to be an armchair medical person, a surgeon or a consultant, isn't it? It's so easy to say this is what it is. And of course they're making these decisions like this, and it works for some and it doesn't work for others, and so of course it's problematical because you don't know then it worked for this one, it didn't work for that one. Does it generally work or does it not work? Was it a fluke? Was it something else? Was it it's obviously going to be very hard. But if you're in trench warfare and you've got bombs coming towards you and you go, look, let's go that way and you all get blown up, and you go, well, let's go that way and you all get blown up. You don't know which was the right way, do you? I mean, we'll go that way and actually, that's the way that the bomb didn't fly. You just got to try. And eventually there's going to be obviously there's the casualties, but eventually a pattern will evolve. But I think nobody can be blamed for trying to save someone. It's that same thing if you see someone collapse. They're walking along, little old lady, little old man, or whatever, a woman, man in their prime, and they collapse. My worry is, you're supposed to put them in the recovery position, and if you move them into the recovery position, and then they die. Don't you feel awful? Would you not feel awful? And I had this conversation with somebody because I went on a first aid course, and I said, well, what if you do this and they die? And they say, well, the chances are that they were going to die anyway. It may be a fluke that when you moved them, that's actually what killed them. But would you rather not have tried to do something using the knowledge that we had on this course than do nothing? Because if you did nothing and they die, you would forever have that guilt yourself. The person who's dead isn't going to have any guilt because they're no longer with us. And I think that's a true logic, isn't it? You would rather. And of course, he said the police and the law are not going to arrest you for killing the person if that's what's killed them because you happen to move them and they had a broken spine, because you don't know that's the situation. And if the ambulance is taking too long and you can move them into the recovery position, he said that is the advice, and you're just following guidelines. If it happens to send them on their way, that is a very, very sad and unfortunate thing. But you were trying and therefore you wouldn't be done. It's so difficult, isn't it? Jack Carline says, I've been watching from the start. It's okay. Good stuff. Linda Kane says, strange that they're now saying sunlight kills the virus when in March research said it didn't. Who do we believe? Well, I would imagine that what's going on is that the advice is being updated all the time. And there's lots of different pieces of advice, and some people are saying this and some people are saying that. I mean, it's you're quite right. Who do you believe? But I think one also has to use a little bit of common sense in there and think, well, possibly sunlight would kill it. If it's known to kill other things, then maybe there's something in it. I mean, I don't know. You know, we're all clutching at straws, aren't we? The other interesting thing, just before we move on to the next video and leave this subject alone, the professor was this Swedish professor who's this virologist, or whatever the technical term is. He was saying that this is the most overrated pandemic that anyone's ever seen. He said, and it will come out that it is completely overrated and we've overreacted to it. He said, yes, basically, those people, there will be a small portion of people who've got it bad. There'll be those people who were going to die maybe in months, you know, maybe a year hence. But they were going to die, and this has just pushed them over the odd, just like a very, very bad influenza would have pushed somebody over the odds. In which case, if somebody got a very, very bad influenza attack and it pushed them over the odds, you wouldn't be going, oh my God, that's, you know, you would just go, oh, how unfortunate. It's very sad and it's very unfortunate, but they got influenza or they got whatever they got. And nobody would have, you know, nobody would have batted an eyelid. But so he's saying it is very much overblown. The physical distance, I'm not calling it social distance. The physical distance of things will help, but people will need to go to work and earn money, because if you protect the vulnerable, the rest can go to work. And the effects will mostly not affect most people. Fascinating. I mean, I'm not the government. I can't make the decisions on this, and I'm abiding by the rules that we've all been pushed under, because obviously it would be stupid to not do that, because it would be against the law. But I think it's certainly worth discussing and looking and speculating and talking about these things, because it gives us, well, I think that having an independent mind and just questioning things is not a bad thing. You may completely disagree with the government and say, actually, this is completely wrong. I want my freedom of this, that, and the other. But you still go along with the law, because the law is the law. You still, you can still be an intelligent person and say, I vehemently disagree, but I will stay locked down and do all this, because to do otherwise would be just, and what if I'm wrong? I think that's. I think you still have to adhere to the law. We're not law breakers as such. Linda Kane says the reported research was done in the USA, reported by Yahoo through a preliminary report marked for official use. And then you've got a big I'm not quite sure what the means, whether that's good, bad, or indifferent. Does anybody know where Kevin is? Kevin's probably having a lie. I don't know. Are we worried about Kevin? I spoke to Kevin earlier today. He was fine. He's probably nipped out for a walk. Ed Loud says, this do something or do nothing debate is a very interesting thing and so relevant to all our lives. Yeah, I mean, it's personally, I do find it fascinating. I find it's we're all in it, aren't we? To not talk about it is bizarre. Anyway, let's move on now, though. We've done the talk about that. That was an update. Every day there's going to be something, and the thing is, there's going to be social unrest about this situation, because we've all abided and we've all done as we're told. But as this goes on, unless there is an exit strategy or a focused plan, I think people are going to have itchy feet. That's what I think. Kevin, where's Kevin? Let's find out where Kevin was. Last time we left him, he was walking through Midhurst. I wonder if he's still there.
Just heading up into the old part of Midhurst now. And we've got that building there is where I used to go to the dentist, which my mother started taking me to after being treated appallingly by the school dentist. And anybody that remembers a school dentist will remember that they used to pull and fill teeth even if they didn't need it. And just in front of me now is the old library, built around 1500. It's now Midhurst Town Council offices. We've got these lovely timber framed buildings here. But when you look at the cross over the road very quickly without getting run over. When you look at these buildings, the way they're all built, just charming, absolutely lovely. Midhurst has actually got 100 listed buildings. And that building there, when all that comes out in leaf, it's beautiful. They've got the church there, St Mary's. So this is the old part of the town, with the memorial just in front of me. And down here a little bit further is the Spread Eagle Hotel. Which we will get to shortly. The building actually that's sort of slightly protruding into the road there, that's also part of the Spread Eagle Hotel. This is the market square just to my left. But just going back to that building there, that's the old market house just over there. And this is the old Swan pub, lovely old building, timber frame building again. But the Spread Eagle, parts of it were built in 1430 and then bits added on around 1650. And the hotel annex is Tudor. Just walk down this way. But Midhurst was actually developed by the Normans. So that's just the end of the Spread Eagle Hotel there. In the rooms below, in those windows there you can see, there used to be a bar called the Coal Hole. And that's where I used to drink as a young teenager. And then we got the rooms and entertainment area there. Anyway, this is Kevin, and I'll be saying cheerio, and I'll see you on the next one.
There we go, the lovely Kevin. And I've actually just called him. I've just rang him. And he was in the bath. He was in the bar. Apparently they've had a power cut in Midhurst for about an hour. Cynthia's camera can probably vouch for that. They've had a power cut, and he's had his dinner put back because I think he was cooking a lamb shank, and the power went off, and I guess he's on electric power there then. So I rang him up and he said, I've just got out the bath. I did tune in, but you were talking about COVID-19. He said, I'm not having any of that. I've had enough of that from last night. Fair enough, I said. And I said, well, we're just watching you walking through old Midhurst. He said, if only I'd known. He said, I'll catch up with it later. So he's perfectly fine. He's perfectly fine. So fear not on that front. Nothing untowards. So he's okay, is young Kevin. And I said to him, the power off for about an hour, is it? I said, that's probably about the amount of time they need to erect a 5G mast and get it reconnected. So you'll be all right now for a bit of high-speed internet and all that sort of silent observation that goes on. Surveillance, I think it's called. But anyway, it's fine. So I left Kevin there struggling with his dinner. So there we go. That's marvellous. I think we'll go straight into a moment of Murphy now, ladies and gentlemen. It's about time we had a moment of Murphy. So let's go over to lovely Andy Murphy with his delightful moment.
Hi everyone, welcome back to another Moment of Murphy with me, Andrew Murphy. Today is Saturday the 11th of April 2020, day God knows in what lockdown, and today I thought I'd take a quick trip up the deviation line in Fareham I'm at the southern portal of the tunnel underneath the M27 motorway. Right, let's go through the tunnel. I've made it! Top of the deviation line. I'm just about to head over this railway bridge towards Knoll Village. Today I'm going to end my walk here, so I'm roughly 3/4 of a mile away from Funtley Village, right to the south. Currently you have got a view of Portsdown Hill to the east, then panning round towards the south we've got a view of Portsmouth and the top of the Spinnaker Tower, and then right round towards Fareham Common. So thank you for your company, and until next time, bye for now.
There we go. Wonderful Andrew Murphy, moment of Murphy. Marvellous. Looks very nice round there. Fantastic. People getting out and about into the countryside, getting me very envious. But I must try and go a bit further afield on my bicyclette. I'm slowly building up the old muscles, don't you know? The old muscles in the legs. But the trouble with getting on a bike, if you haven't been on a bike for a long time, of course, is that it gives you a bit of a sore bum, doesn't it? You know the old, what do they call them? The scissors saddle, is it? Then you get on the bike and you go, oh gosh, that's pushing down in a very awkward place. So I think they do say that cyclists who do a lot of cycling are impotent, aren't they? Or they have a problem because of it pushes onto the, what is the gland? The funny gland that you men have get cancer from up that neck of the woods. In the dark tunnel that you don't want to stick your... Anyway, let's not go down there too. You know what I mean. And I think because you're pressing on it or something, it's not so good for you. But anyway, well done, Ed. That's, I don't know how we got to that. Bicycles and sore bums, that's right. Going further afield. Fantastic. Anybody wants to give me a quick ring before the next video? 0793 4746 790. What have you been up to? We must set a theme. So that gives people an opportunity to come in with something. Prostate, that's the word. Prostate, the old prostate gland. Men should have that checked, don't you know? Because it can be a bit of a shocker if you suddenly get the old bad news. In that ball bag, says Barry Stevens. Yeah, thanks. It's the prostate gland, not the ball bag. What bag you use to go down to the bowling alley with to carry and to do your 10 pin is another ball game. Ed Loud says, wasn't me. There you go, it was somebody else. How marvellous is that? Yeah, give us a call, 0793 4746 790. So what are we going to do tomorrow? Well, it's funny, isn't it? The days are just rolling. It's Monday tomorrow. We've had the bins changed. Have you got a different bin day? Look at us. I'm now scratching at the bottom of the barrel. I'm talking about when is bin day. Bin day, and I know that sounds like some Indian food, doesn't it? Oh, bin day. But the bins go out in Worthing tomorrow. And have we got a load of old stuff to go? Yeah, probably. It's all the refuse stuff. I would like to get down to the tip because I took my hedge out 2 weeks ago now, and it's sitting there on my front, making the place look absolutely disgusting. And I could do with the few bits of free time that I have is to do something nice with the front garden, but I can't because I've got bits of hedge which is burning. I did try burning some of it in the Essie, but it because it's like a leandai type hedge, and it's brown. All those tiny bits, they're all going up the chimney, and they're probably going to land on people's heads and set fire to their shopping bags and that sort of thing. We have a phone call. Thank you very much. Somebody's got me out of talking about bins on bin day. Hello to you.
Hello, it's Gabriel.
Hello, Gabriel. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. And you?
Thank you for the very well, thank you. Thank you for the video. That looked very good. Everyone said you must be a fast runner.
Yes, I was out of breath at the end of that one.
I'm not at all surprised. It's a lovely place up there in Glastonbury. You're very lucky.
Yeah, it is. It's and I was looking on a map that apparently the southwest is the lowest area of cases or whatever you want to call them.
Cases?
Cases. You know, this virusy thing that's going out.
Oh, see. Oh, lowest forms. Yeah. Have you always lived in Glastonbury? Is that your sort of hometown?
No. Where have I lived? I've lived in Liverpool. I've lived in Lancashire, and I've lived in London, and I've lived down here, and I've lived in Devon as well.
Wow. So you've been around then.
Yeah.
Which is your favourite place?
Good question.
Only ask good ones.
Yeah, I don't know really. I would have to say, they all had their benefits. They all had, there's bits I liked about all of them.
Yes, and I also suppose when people move around, often it's connected with work, so that also reflects on how you like somewhere.
Yeah. I mean, I moved on a whim on each occasion.
Oh, did you?
Actually do. Yeah, absolutely.
Wow, that's not everybody is able to move on a whim.
No. It takes a flight of not a flight of fancy, but a leap of faith.
Gosh, not so you moved on a whim and you took a flight of fancy. I mean, most people obviously, go in a car with a van, but you've got two.
I took a flight.
A flight of fancy, and you went on a whim. I'd love to know what this whim looks like. Was it comfortable?
Well, it's big and you inflate it. Inflatable whim.
It's an inflatable whim, so that's quite handy. So you can deflate the whim when you arrive
and put it in your back pocket.
Fantastic.
And keep it for when you want to go back again.
Yeah,
another whim.
On another whim. Gosh,
absolutely.
Superb. What part of Lancashire did you live in?
South of Preston, north of Liverpool, West Lancashire, Ormskirk.
Oh, okay. Now, how close is that to where Mark Donny MacLeod is and the Pendle Witches?
Not far. I mean, he's slightly to the east of there, more into Lancashire proper. West Lancashire is that kind of bit that's kind of not really anywhere. It's that bit in between Liverpool and Preston.
Right, yeah.
But he's over more to Lancashire proper, over where Pendle. It's lovely over there. I love that hill.
Yeah. No, I must. I've never climbed. I've seen it, I've driven past it, but not climbed it. And it's again, it's one of those on the list of the Bald Explorer's places to go and tick off.
Yes, absolutely. I think you should go up to the Dales.
The Yorkshire Dales.
Yes,
desperate.
I know it well.
Do you? Where?
Yes.
Where would you suggest? Where is the sort of James Herriot country?
Well, James Herriot was actually down in Thirsk, the surgery, not in the Dales. But I mean, he worked quite a lot in the Yorkshire moors, but he did come across into the Dales.
Right.
Because back in those days, the veterinary practices were huge. They covered a massive area.
Yeah.
But the whole area. I mean, where I go with my mum each year, so that I can do the driving. And we stay in a place called Reeth.
Reeth.
Reeth. Reeth.
Oh, no W, just R.
Yeah.
Right, Reeth.
Which is absolutely beautiful. You can get anywhere from there. But I mean, you've got Widderdale, you've got Wensleydale, you've got all the different. It's just beautiful. You've got the Tan Hill pub, which is the highest pub in England, which is about 14 miles north of Reeth. You can go up to Barnard Castle. I mean, there's just so many places. I mean, I love it up there.
I do. I mean, I fell in love with it when I watched the series, All Creatures Great and Small. You know, you just suddenly thought, look at those rolling hills, those dry stone walls, the gorgeous little villages and things. And one hopes that it hasn't changed.
It hasn't, and that's actually filmed around Reeth.
Oh, is it?
In fact, my mum and dad used to go there every year. Since the 70s, and she said some years she'll be there, and the actors will be sitting outside the pubs in between shots.
Oh, really?
I mean, like that. What's the dog called? The spoilt poodle, Puffy Will. I can't think what it's called. With the rich lady. That's filmed in a house just outside Reeth. The water splash is just outside. It's just a nice area to be.
Oh, it does sound absolutely.
Watch carefully.
Oh, hang on. It sounds absolutely a wonderful place to. Here we go.
Yes, it is. I can highly recommend it.
Can you hear that?
I can hear that. That's the one. Well, those places, Arkengarthdale and all those places, most of those places in that opening sequence you're looking at are within about 5 miles of Reeth.
Are they?
And the water splash, we all go every year to the water splash.
So, yeah, brings back them. It was a fantastic series. They used to make great programmes back in the day. I'm sure they make them now. I don't have a telly. But the theme tunes were so cracking. That was the thing.
It was Tricky Woo. That was the name of that dog.
Tricky?
Yes, Miss Pumphrey's Tricky Woo. Yes, that big country house is just outside Reeth.
There we go.
Yes, it was good, that.
All creatures great and small. There we are. I better not put too much in because they'll probably shut me down or something.
I was at the tour today, shooting that video that I shot.
Yeah, so you did that today. Marvellous.
Yeah, so I did that today. And I was thinking to myself, there's so many legends and laws and stories and bits and pieces about Glastonbury.
Yeah.
I was thinking, would there be any interest in me doing a longer film showing all of those bits? I mean, we could always chop it up so you could show it in bits, but I'm thinking of doing something more like one of your longer format things about the history of Glastonbury, all the legends, and because there's so much you could do.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, it's all down to you, really, isn't it? It's nice to put short ones in this show.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
But you should definitely put a long one. If you're going to do a whole series of short ones, you could then turn that into one long one.
That's what I was thinking.
And
yeah.
Do you have your own channel?
I've got one channel, but I'm not really using it. So I'm just thinking that it might be time to start putting a few videos up on that.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. And then we can direct people to go and watch the long one, and they can refresh themselves because not everybody watches every show, every Vobe show. I should hope they don't, because people probably got lives of their own, like Kevin sitting in the bath, Billy on his top. Having a nice navel gaze. I'm digging a hole now.
By candlelight, presumably.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
You want to be careful when the wax drops and everything.
Yeah. He might be checking his prostate gland with the other end of the candle. Anyway.
There's a thought.
But it might act as a holder. But yeah, so I would think that would be a good idea.
Okay. I'll have a think about that and start scripting something. I've got some little ones to keep coming in anyway in the meantime.
Yeah, no, we love the videos, Gabriel. It's lovely. What's lovely, what we're discovering here is having people in different areas. The Robert Croser, silly me, Robert Croser up in Cumbria, and you get the flavour of Cumbria. We're getting from you a flavour of Glastonbury and the Somerset levels, and then other people, they do their thing. Barry's over there in is it Hampshire? Barry, you're in Hampshire, where it's sort of Hampshire way, isn't it? Farnham and Basingstoke and that Alton, that sort of area. So we get it's lovely because you're getting all these different little little postcards from these different parts of the world.
It's like one of those sort of regional magazine programs. Used to be on at 6 o'clock of an evening, like Nationwide, isn't it?
That's it, Nationwide, yeah, with Michael Barrett.
That was brilliant. I used to love that program.
I loved that, all that. That was, and
a lot of people cut their teeth journalistically on that, didn't they, as well?
They absolutely did. Sorry, I'm just trying to find the theme now. He's rushing to get the theme music.
I'll name it, you find the theme, yeah.
Yeah, the trouble is they keep running these adverts. I'm going to have to put an ad stopper on, otherwise. Here we go. I don't know how I get the sound into the studio better.
That's it.
Nationwide. Hello, Michael Barrett with a slightly gravelly voice.
That's it, yeah.
Oh, I love it. Bum, bum, bum. Oh, yeah, Sue Lawley was in it.
Yeah, many people cut their teeth in that program. Went on to bigger, I wouldn't say better, but certainly bigger things, I guess.
Yeah. How amazing.
That always reminds me of that Pearl and Dean music. That da 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 da. And it's sort of,
Oh yes.
Somebody should make a dance tune out of that.
Yeah, I'm surprised that there isn't a one with a beat.
Maybe we should start something. We'll start an online project collaboration.
Absolutely. Andy Dalglish says, I love Nationwide. Ron Langley says, I remember that.
Yeah.
You can easily get stuck on the wormhole that is nostalgia of television programmes.
Absolutely. There's a shop in Wales that is just nothing but spin-offs from television. You can buy Mr. Ron's things in there.
Oh,
you can buy
you?
TARDISes. You can buy stuff that you've never even can't even remember until you say, oh wow, that's such and such. And, yeah, weird and wonderful stuff. Well, anyway, listen, I'll let you get on.
Yeah, better play another video in.
Yeah, don't hog the night. But it's lovely talking to you again, and I'll try and get another video in for tomorrow.
You're a star. How about you? Go, Gabriel.
How about
go.
you too? Good on you, buddy.
Take care.
Keep it up.
All the best.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. There we are. Another prolific filmmaker out there, providing the Vobes Show and all the viewers with lots of content, which is what we love. So let's see what we've. Hang on, I've lost my set. We talked about Barry and the lovely Faden. Now I meant to play this in the other day, and Barry very kindly sent it to me because I somehow lost it. This is over towards Waverley Abbey way.
Hello everybody, Barry Stevens and Faden here. We are currently in Bourne Woods, just outside of Farnham. We're doing a little walk. It's basically it's a forestry commission woodland. It's got a bit of history, especially with recently in filming. I think they filmed parts of Gladiator here, parts of Warhorse and Jurassic World, I believe. It's also goes back to Bronze Age. There are tunnels, I think they're called, Bronze Age tunnels. I think I got that wrong. It's also got quite a bit of World War II history. There's some famous searchlights that were constructed here by the Canadians back in World War II, which you can still see some remnants of them. Anyway, I'll get back to you later. Bye-bye. Okay, we've just found a river. I'm assuming it's the River Wey, but it looks a little bit too small to be the River Wey, so I'm not quite sure that it is.
By the way, everybody, hello everybody that's watching.
Anyway, we'll get back to you soon. Bye-bye. We got lost in the last place, so we've come to Waverley Abbey, also just outside Farnham. We're going to look at this, what is it?
Pillbox.
A pillbox, yeah.
As you know, most pillboxes have a roof. This one looks like it's like collapsed in or something.
Yeah, I think it's just got a different kind of roof.
Maybe. There's those types of
Out there?
geese over there. Are they geese? Are they type of geese over there?
They are.
Yeah.
We'll get back to you in a mo. Bye-bye. And here we are at the River Wey. A lovely little bridge there, I thought I'd tell you. And where is the Abbey then? Waverley Abbey.
There.
There it is.
There's also some coots swimming around in it.
There are some coots swimming around. Anyway, we'll get back to you in a mo. Okay, here we are at the ruins. Just tell you a little bit about it. It was founded in 1128 by William Giffard, Bishop of Winchester. In its heyday, I think it had about 70 monks to 120 lay brothers. They lived and worshipped there. It was basically destroyed by the King Henry VIII, who obviously destroyed a lot of the religious sites of the country.
And also, it would be way bigger than this because this is just a ruin. If you look on that, then that's like, it would be way bigger. It's just because that's just a ruin.
Yeah, it would be a lot bigger, a lot more magnificent than what it is.
Yeah.
Right, I don't know what this part of the Abbey would have been, but it's my most favourite part. By the way, English Heritage manage this site. I don't like to say they own it because it's British history and I don't think anyone owns it other than the British public. Anyway, I thought I'd take you around to see.
This also, what I think, this might be the dining room. We don't really,
Could be, it's got a fireplace there.
Yeah, but we don't really know what this big circle is. We don't know if it was actually there when it was built.
Yes.
Or when it... Because there's also a circle in the floor, like where the shade is.
There is. Anyway, we'll get back to you in a moment. Just before we leave, I'd just like you to quickly see the dormitory of this place. I thought it was very interesting. Now get back in a mo.
This is actually my favourite bit because it has like nice like bricks and everything.
It does. Faden said this is his favourite bit, this tunnel, because it's got bricks and stuff. See you in a mo when I end the video. Right, to finish the video, I'd just like to film this absolutely amazing yew tree. I love this tree and I always have done for years. It's absolutely beautiful. And Faden would just like to say something.
Oh, I forgot now.
Okay, we're going to say goodbye now anyway because the video's going on a little bit. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye. Oh yeah, I remember now. It's actually a very old tree as well.
It is. Goodbye.
Oh, here we go. We're now back on. Yeah, hang on, I just going to patch you through into the desk. Just bear with me 1 second, Dawn. So that was lovely, Barry and Faden there at Waverley Abbey, which was fantastic. On the phone, we've got Dawn.
Oh, I wanted to ask you, Richard, or Julia.
Yes.
A few weeks back, you was having a nice drink of mead. Do you remember that?
A nice drink. Golly, that must have been some time ago. Mead.
It was a drink called mead.
Yeah, a honey brewed alcoholic drink. Yes.
That's right. Yes. Well, I've been trying to get it, and I'm just wondering whether you could tell me where you brought it from.
Well, I think the one we got. Do you know Middle Farm on the A27?
Middle Farm.
Where are you based, Dawn?
Goring.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would imagine that you could get mead in a farm in a good farm shop.
Oh right. Okay.
I think the supermarkets do a mead, but it's a very basic one. The farm shop that I know that does a variety of them is Middle Farm, which is between Lewes and Eastbourne on the A27. It's about It's about 3-4 miles east of Lewes.
Oh right, okay.
So are you a mead drinker?
No, I just wanted to try it. It sounded really nice.
It was nice. It is nice. Quite sweet. Do you like sweet things?
Well, I like honey.
Oh well, there we are. You'll be all right then. You'll be fine with that.
Yeah.
So you're in Goring, are you?
That's right. Yes, we passed you. You was watering your flowers. We was waving like mad, but you took no notice of us.
Oh, I know. I'm very snooty. Me, I'm the real me. I won't say anything to anybody. Me, I'm as snooty as. I obviously didn't notice. I've only got one eye. It's my excuse. It's the excuse.
Well, you do very well.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah. So, you went past me as I was watering. Yeah, I've got some pots on my what do you call it, where the windows meet the windowsill, that's the thing. And I'm trying to grow hollyhocks.
Oh.
There's some mint there, which is growing nicely. But in the little pots, I shouldn't say this because somebody now will come and nick them all. But I'm trying to grow some hollyhocks. And at the moment, they're about an inch, if that.
Wow.
And I'm told that they should grow to about 4 foot in the first year. They won't flower, but they'll flower in the second year. And I want to replant them in front of my house so it looks like a traditional English house.
Oh, right.
Well, I'm hoping that's the thing. I think the other things I've got in there are poppies. So I should have poppies, colourful poppies of different colours, not just red, and hollyhocks.
Wow. I should look forward to going past yours because we go to Morrison's, which is near you, isn't it?
It is. Very close, yeah. So have you been in Morrison's recently?
No. Well, we went to go in there, but there's such a long queue that we went in there with a car and then we drove out again.
Yeah. The best time to go in there is about 8 o'clock in the morning.
Really? Oh, that's a good tip.
I nip in there. They open the door specially for me because I'm international film star of stage and screen. They go, oh, Mr. Vobes, in you come. They stop everybody. They evacuate the whole store, so not a member of staff is in there apart from the person at the checkout, which is the manager, and he's in a full hazmat suit just in case. The special. There are privileges.
Oh well, yeah.
No,
I like going to Morrison's because they do the most beautiful mixed fruit pack.
They do a lot of mixed fruit. Yes, they've got some.
Yes.
Sometimes I buy a pummel of the grapes, but I can never finish them before they start to go off or dry out or frizzle up, because they're lovely, but their potatoes, you've got to be wary of their potatoes because they always seem to go green before you've had a chance to get them in the pot.
Ah, well, I was talking about fruit you put in a cake.
Oh, see, I beg your pardon, not fresh fruit. Oh, cakey fruit.
No,
fruit.
Mixed fruit, yeah, because I do this slow cooked fruit cake.
Oh,
and it's everybody that has it thinks it's wonderful. It's lovely and moist.
If you go past my house again, could you leave a little slice of slow cooked fruit cake on my step?
I will do, actually, because I've just made one for John's birthday. I'll do that for you.
Oh, do, and I'll bring it into the show, and I'll, why not? This is what this is about, isn't it? Having a bit of fun.
Richard, this lovely fruit cake has got no eggs in it and no fat in it.
No eggs and no fat.
No fat.
Is it? What is it? Just fruit?
It's fruit, and you put a kilo of fruit. But I don't like peel. The one in Morrison's don't have peel. It's just dried fruit.
Right.
And you get 7 ounces of anything you like in fluid. You could put whiskey or brandy, or you can have all teas that you like, all up to 700 grams, right?
Yes.
And then you soak it overnight with the fruit, and then you put 2 cups overnight, once it's soaked, 2 cups of flour in it.
Right.
And you put it in a bowl and put it in a slow cooker and cook it for about 3 hours.
And when you've gorged on all of this fruitcake, is that the best time to get the hula hoops out?
well, it's very good because it's got no fat in it and no eggs.
It keeps you trim.
Quite healthy.
It does. It keeps you trim. How marvellous is that? Did you see? I mean, we did manage to show the videos in the end, but we had to do it on a webcam through Facebook. It was a bit weird, but we did manage to. I don't know whether you saw that.
Yeah, you've done very well, actually. Yeah, that's very well. Yeah.
Well, you guys were amazing with your hula hoops.
We're still hula hooping, trying to keep our weight down.
Oh, well, it's all the fruit. You see, if you're eating fruitcake, it's giving you the energy to keep the hula hooping up. It's a sort of circle, isn't it? Just like a hoop.
There's only one problem with the fruitcake that I just made, is that I made it with a bit of icing on it. I don't normally do that, but because it's a birthday cake.
Oh, I like a bit of icing.
Okay, well, I will put it in a box and we'll leave it outside your door.
Oh, what a start. In fact, outside my door is a little box which says for small parcels. Put it in there because...
Okay.
Yeah, but... and just... I'll keep checking it because if there's ants about, they might nibble it. But if it's all wrapped up, it'll be all right.
I'll put it in a container for you. Yeah.
Well, you're welcome to come. I can put the container outside, and you're welcome to retrieve the container at a later date.
Oh, right.
Whatever whatever is.
With all your good shows, you deserve a bit of cake, don't you?
I do. Thank you very much. It's so kind of you. And I will make myself... do you know what I might do is get my real coffee percolator thing out, make a real coffee, have a bit of cake. That'll be, and everybody be envious. We should have a cake and coffee night.
I'll leave a bit for Julia in case she likes some.
Oh, yes.
I think she's absolutely super. She's lovely.
Oh,
lovely
Julia
girl.
is...
And that baby of hers.
Oh, I know.
I love him.
He is a real what's the word I'm looking for when somebody upstages you? He's a real upstager.
Oh, he's gorgeous.
But he is very nice, and she's got this little flat cap, this like northern flat cap that she puts on him, and you can't help sort of wanting to do a northern accent with him. Oh, lad, all right, I'm all right, thank you. Derek Guyler, bit Derek Guyler like, isn't he? Oh,
well, you make a wonderful team together. I love.
Oh, thank you very much. That's very kind. Well, unfortunately, we can't do too much together at the moment because of the situation. But as soon as this is over, I'm sure we'll be banging out the old videos.
Yeah, well, we enjoy watching you. Thank you very much for all the entertainment.
Oh, it's a pleasure, Dawn. It's a pleasure. Did you see my loaf of bread, by the way?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had a good laugh over that. I'm listening on the other phone.
Oh, are you? Hello, John.
Hello.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm okay, thanks. Yes, it's my birthday Tuesday.
Oh, is it? Happy birthday on Tuesday.
Give him a cake away.
Yes, I'm sorry about that.
You might have a candle on it.
That's very naughty of me, isn't it? There you are. I've just made John a nice birthday cake, and I said, I'll have a slice of that, thank you. It's an outrage, but it's...
No, I shouldn't eat too much anyway.
No, would I?
He's been very naughty today, Richard. You tell him what you put on our phone. We've got a new phone.
You got a new phone?
Yeah, and you know when you go to answer the phone?
Mm.
You tell him what you put on there, John.
Hold on, I wrote it
Hang on a
down.
minute.
I have to find it.
Oh, on the answer phone message, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know
Yes.
Here goes.
I've just got to get my glasses.
Oh, hang on. He's got to get his glasses.
I'm 71 Tuesday, you know. I'm getting old.
71? My goodness.
No, because you know you get these nuisance phone calls, and I suppose you get them as well. And
Oh, I love them.
So, yeah, I thought, hello, this is Dawn and John's residence. Please leave your name after the tone. Then, if we like you, we will call you back. If we don't, we won't. Thank you. So anybody that phones me up now, that's what they're going to get.
Yeah, quite right. Absolutely. Dear, oh dear.
Oh dear, what are we going to do with it?
I don't know what my friends and that will think.
Well done on getting it. Is that his birthday present, the phone?
No, because we've had trouble with our old phone, and it turned out that it was. So I bought this new phone. It turns out it weren't the phone anyway. It was a fault their end. And, we haven't just got it fixed. It's been off since about the 5th of April. It's been off, not working.
I'm assuming this is a landline phone.
Oh, it's a landline, yeah.
Was it the old one that you used to have? Did it have a dial on it?
No. No, it wasn't that old. It wasn't as old as
This is one of those ones you see in the old Laurel and Hardy films that you hold one end in one hand, like a candlestick, and the other end in here, and you stick one to your ear, and the whole...
Right.
Is that the sort of...
better than the ones that we get now.
They called them a blower, didn't they?
Yeah, that's it. Listen, I could talk to you guys all night, but it's nearly 9:30 and I better go.
Yeah, you better go. Thank you for talking to us.
But, it's a pleasure. Thank you so much for ringing in and giving us a laugh.
Okay.
You look after yourself, and I look forward to a little cheeky piece of cake.
Okay. Right.
All the best. Bye-bye.
Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye. Bye. There we are, the inimitable Dawn and John from Goring. And and I've managed to talk myself into having a lovely piece of cake. We've got 2 more videos, but one from Ed Loud and one from Mike Stevens' friend Grace. But I'm gonna let them roll over until tomorrow, if that's all right. I don't want to squeeze them in at the end. I think that would be just a bit rude. We'll look forward to those tomorrow, if that's okay. That was absolutely fantastic. Lovely to have a good giggle at the end of the show there. Thank you very much, everybody, for taking part and for doing the videos continuously and keeping the mood high. We'll try to keep the COVID stuff out of it, but every now and again, the odd bit sneaks in. It is why we're all locked up in here, and it is why I'm doing the shows every night. If it wasn't for that, then I'd be only doing it Monday, Wednesday and Friday. Mind you, the bonus would be that every Wednesday the lovely Julia would be here. So anyway, so there we go. Thank you so much for watching. Look after yourselves. Have another good day. Tomorrow's video on the Bald Explorer will be going around ferrying. I've got to think where I'm going to go next to do the next video. But in the meantime, thank you. Look after yourselves. Stay safe. Keep smiling and all those things. And I'll see you here at 8 o'clock tomorrow if you want to drop by. Till then, bye-bye. Bye-bye.